A foster father will spend 10 years in prison for sexually abusing a 15-year-old girl placed in his care by the state of Texas. We first told you about this case last week.
Since then, we've been looking for the cracks in the system that ultimately failed this child. KXAN's Shannon Wolfson investigates.
51-year-old Jesse Aranda had no criminal history when he became a foster parent with the Settlement Home, a children's welfare agency that works with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. His only encounter with the law was a 2004 speeding ticket.
That's pretty common for the types of cases that we deal with. More often than not, they won't have any criminal history.
Now he's a convicted sex offender, found guilty of paying his 15-year-old foster daughter to perform oral sex on him back in 2008. Hays County prosecutor Kathy Compton believes the victim in this case was failed more than once by the system.
I was really appalled by the lack of support for this victim.
According to testimony at trial, the girl was initially removed from her home after she was sexually abused. The Settlement Home placed her in the care of Jesse Aranda and his wife, along with several other foster children. This letter from one of the victim's therapists says the girl reported the abuse during a group therapy session. From there, the Department of Family Services, along with the Hays County Sheriff's Office, began a joint investigation.
In this situation, that the investigation and the cooperation with law enforcement was probably less than ideal.
Compton said there never seemed to be an advocate for the girl. She believes the final insult came in trial last week when employees of the Settlement Home arrived in court for Aranda's sentencing.
They sat with his family. They were there supporting him, even after the jury came back with a verdict of guilty. The mission is to be supportive of that child. And it does appall me when people, for whatever reason, lose their objectivity, maybe. And if you don't know who to believe, then be neutral.
Our phone calls to the Settlement Home director have not been returned. Now, to learn more about the Settlement Home, which has a long-standing history in the Central Texas community, we have created a link with this story online right now at KXAN.com. Live in the studio, Shannon Wolfson, KXAN, Austin News.
Shannon, thank you. Well, tomorrow afternoon at the state capitol, the Texas Association for the Protection of Children will outline what it sees as critical issues facing children and families during the legislative session, and we'll be sure to bring you that priority list.